Hello, in this presentation we will be entering service items and invoices within QuickBooks Online. We will have a comprehensive QuickBooks Online course soon, if not available yet. We also have a comprehensive Excel course which complements the QuickBooks courses and a QuickBooks Pro desktop version course you can find at the link below. Here we are in QuickBooks Online, the dashboard. We will be continuing with the Get Great Guitars problem. We're going to be entering some invoices, and unlike most of the invoices where we have been having the sale of guitars, we're going to have some service invoices where we're going to have guitar lessons. And in order to do that, we're going to have to add some service items to invoice the clients for guitar lessons. So we're going to start by the entering of invoices. Couple places we can go to enter invoices. One is this little plus icon up here with the customers and the invoice. The other, I'm going to click off of that, is the sales item on the left. Let's try that to start off, the sales item on the left. And I'm going to go to the Invoices tab up top within the sales item. And then I'm just going to create a new invoice. New invoice for that. Here's our invoice screen. Remember what the invoice does. It's going to debit accounts receivable. That's what the invoice means in essence. Accounts receivable is going to go up when we make the invoice. The other side will be revenue, and we're not going to be dealing with any cost of goods sold or the reduction of inventory because this will be service items. This will be guitar lessons rather than the guitars themselves. So we're going to start by putting in a new customer. The customer is not here yet. We're going to say it's Star Lee is going to be the customer. I'm going to tab through that and set up. We're not going to set up the details in terms of the address. I'm just going to save that. And we're not going to put the email address here. We're going to tab through. The mail-in address would be great. However, it's not needed to create the invoice, and it's even more needed if we were to sell inventory because it would be used to create sales tax, or could be used to create sales tax, let's say. But in here, we're not going to have sales tax because it's a service item, which is not taxable in terms of sales tax for the locations we're at. So, and typically it's often the case that service items won't be subject to sales tax or usage taxes. So we're going to say that the invoice date is going to be 02/28/21, February 28th, 2021. In essence, we're thinking we're billing the clients for the guitar lessons that happened over the month of this month. So we're billing like monthly in terms of adding up the time and setting up the bill for that time period. So we're going to scroll through here, and then we have the product or service down here, and of course we don't have one yet. This is the first time we've done the guitar lessons. Now we're going to try to set up a standardized type of rate for the guitar lesson, so we're going to have to set up an item, set up a rate for that item so that we can bill pretty much basically on an hourly type of basis. So what we're going to call this is Jody Guitar Lessons. Now this isn't in the system yet. Hopefully I spelled this right. If I make any misspellings here, I apologize. But hopefully that's not in the system yet. That's going to be a new item. So we're going to tab through that and we're going to set up an item. Now it's not going to be an inventory item. We're not going to be dealing with inventory, and that's great. That makes it easier. And it's going to be a service item. In this case, the service of providing guitar lessons. So we're going to set that up, and we're going to tab through this. I sell this product service to my customers. We'll keep this the same. Jody Guitar Lessons. Putting this on there, and we're going to say the sales price. I'm going to give it a standard price. It's not required here because we could populate this as we make the invoice if it varies, but we're going to say it's $190, and that's going to be like our hourly type of rate. So we'll populate it with that, and then we're going to say that's going to go to not sales, because that's typically going to be our sales for selling inventory, and we might want another sales that would be something like a service fee here that will be charged just for the services, as opposed to the sales or income. These are income or revenue accounts that would be used when we sell inventory. And I think that's all the required fields that we need. I'm not going to put the sales tax. We have no sales tax. It's not going to be applicable. And purchasing information, I purchased this, and we're not going to have any purchasing information. So we're going to save and close that. So there it is. We're going to tab through this. We're going to say that we have 5 hours. And so the quantity is 5 at 190 or 950. And then we're going to have the subtotal, which is just going to be that 950, no sales tax. And therefore, what's going to happen when we create this invoice? So I just clicked off of it to let it populate the fact that there's no sales tax here. Here we have the invoice. What's going to happen? We are going to, because it's an invoice, increase accounts receivable, and then the credit is going to go to revenue, which will be that fees account, and that's going to be it. No other inventory and no cost of goods sold. We're going to save and save this, and we'll do this again. We're going to do this a couple times here. So for the service items, so we're going to save that, and we're not going to send it. We'll just save it, and then I'm going to close this, and we will set up another one. We're going to have a new invoice once again. And we're going to do the same thing just for another client. So we're basically adding up our time for the end of the time period. And note, we're assuming, of course, that the time that we're calculating, we're keeping somewhere else, like on an Excel spreadsheet, where we're saying, hey, here's our client, here's the time we spent with this client. There's a lot of different softwares that can be used. You can track the time within QuickBooks and actually link it to invoices as well, but a lot of companies, some companies find that really useful. Some companies find their own system useful. It really depends on how complicated your billing process is, and how do you want that time to be tracked. If you want to monitor employee times, you might want to have a more rigorous system where they have to check in and check out. If you're just charging hours and you set a time with a client just by calendar, you might want a less rigorous system, something like just an Excel sheet, or even something on the calendar in Outlook or something like that, that you can track this time in and then add it together so you can bill the clients on a regular basis. So we're periodically billing our clients as of the end of the month here. We got another new client. This is the first, because it's the first month of operation. We have Diana Martinez. It's going to be our next client. We're going to type that in there, new client. So we're going to add the client. We're going to save it as a customer. Save them as a customer. Save Diana, her as a customer. We'll tab through this. Billing address. It's just going to be the name, no address. We'll tab through. Same date. We're going to bill it all, keeping it in the month. So this will keep the revenue recorded in the month the work was done. And we're going to tab through this. And once again, it's going to be Jody's guitar lessons, which we should have now. Now it's been populated, and we can type in that, and that'll give us Jody guitar lessons are, it should be an S, and that'll give us the description, and it'll give us our rate. And once again, we're going to say 5 hours for Diana, and we'll tab through that, and that'll be it. So there's the 950 again, our second invoice. We're just going through this and billing our clients as of the hours that have spent at the end of the time period. So now we have Diana's here. It's going to increase the accounts receivable, and the other side will be revenue, just as we set up when we set up this item for the prior invoice, as we did it in the prior invoice. Note that we're setting up these items as we go here, and if we wanted to modify the invoices, we can go back to the item list where we had originally entered our items and adjust that. So we'll take a look at the item list in a second. So we're going to save this one, and I'm going to close this out. We're going to close this one out. We're going to do this one more time. We're going to say new invoice here, and we're going to say there's another new client named Lynn Jackson. Lynn Jackson. We're going to tab that through, add the new customer, tabbing through, and of course once we have these customers set up next month, they will be there and we won't have to add them again. No billing address. It's not going to hurt the fact that we're not having sales tax, so that's good. Then we're going to have the same product, which is the service this time, of Jody guitar lessons. That's our item. Should be an S. And we're going to say that we have, in this case, 10 hours. So 10 hours for the month. We're billing for the month, keep it in the same month, trying to record that revenue as of the end of the month. Clicking off of it so it can record the sales and the sales tax. And that means, once again, it's going to credit accounts receivable. Debit accounts, or increase accounts receivable with a debit. And then it's going to increase the sales with a credit of the 1,900. So we're going to save that item. Now we're going to take a quick look at the financials and then go through the same process again, billing another set of 3. So first, let's go to the products or services. This is where we first entered our items, which could be inventory items, items that we sell, or service items. So here's all of our items. We could have gone straight here and added a new item as opposed to adding the item as we create the invoice. But if we scroll through these, we see our service items, and this is here's the Jody guitar lessons here that we have now added. Now let's go to the reports. We're going to go to the left-hand side to reports, and we're going to see the balance sheet first. So we are in the balance sheet. We're going to change the dates. Dates being, let's do the month of February. So 02/01/212, 02/01/02/28/21. February 1st, 2021 to February 28th, 2021, and run that report. So here is the report. If we scroll down to the accounts receivable, we see $4,949 in accounts receivable. If we click on that item, then we scroll down, we see Star Lee, Deanna Martinez, Lynn Jackson for the amounts of $950, $950, and $1,900 respectively. If we click on any of those, we then see the transaction representing that they owe us. We're imagining that we sent out these invoices, mailed these invoices. So we're going to close this out. And there's that. Then we're going to go to the reports and see the other side of this, which will be in the profit and loss statement. So we're in the profit and loss. Let's do that a little bit slower. We're going to go to reports, profit and loss here. We're going to profit and loss. And now we're going to change the dates. The dates are going to be 02/01/21 02/28/21. February 1st, 2021 to February 28th, 2021, and run that report. So here is our report. We got the service fees income. That's where we had reported the income in a separate income account. Then we are reporting the inventory income. We're going to select that item, the $3,800, and here are our 3 invoices. So if we click on either of these, we will then see the invoice. So here is the invoice, and it's increasing our sales. We're going to close this back out. Do you want to leave without saving? Yes, we do. And I'm going to go back to the report up top. We're going to go back to the report. And then if we scroll down, we see our items here. That's going to increase, of course, our income. Next, we're going to run this back again, and we're going to do this for another instructor of ours. It's going to be Angela Guitar Lessons. So we'll run this back again, same process. We're going to count up the hours, and we're sending out the invoices as of the end of the month. So this time, let's go to the plus item up top, and we're going to go to customers and just add invoices. So we're going to say new invoice. And this is going to be for another new customer, Jenny Jones. Tabbing through, new customer. We're not going to add the date or anything, although that would be a good idea if we were having customers so we can contact them and whatnot. Out in the QuickBooks system, we might have their contact information in other systems as well. So Jenny Jones, we got 30 days, 228. All right. And then we're going to say that the product down here is going to be Angela Guitar Lessons, and we're just going to set this up as we go. So we're just going to say Angela. This is the first time we've entered this. Guitar Lessons. And I'm just going to correct the guitar here. And we'll tab through that. Once again, not an inventory item. It will be a service item, meaning we're not going to be dealing with any inventory, cost of goods sold, or reduction or tracking of the inventory, which is nice. So we're going to say that the sales description, once again, will be Angela Guitar Lesson. We're going to continue tabbing through this. We're going to say that the sales price is going to be $150 for Angela's, and it's not going to go to sales. That's the default. It's going to go to sales fee income, service fee income, and that'll differentiate the service income from the income from selling inventory, in our case, guitars. And this shouldn't be taxable. It should not be taxable. I hope I did that on the last one, but it shouldn't be a taxable item. And we didn't charge any sales tax the last time, so it looked like that was the case. So in any case, there we have that. We're going to say save and close here. And then we're going to tab through this. So now we've set up the new item, and that item will appear, as we will see as we create another invoice. And we're going to say that we have the quantity of, we're going to say 7 hours at 150 gives us 1,050. Again, we want to click off of it in order to calculate the sales tax. And if that sales tax was calculated, then typically it would have the sales tax checked here. So we could check or uncheck the sales tax as we create the invoice, but if we set up the settings correctly, it should apply the sales tax or not as we go. And if we click off of it, that's when it typically will calculate, and the calculation will happen down here. And I think in the prior one, I may have set up that item with sales tax. We can take a look at that. So we're going to say that this is at 1,050, so that's going to increase accounts receivable, and the other side of it will be sales. It's going to be service revenue. So we're going to save that. I'm going to close this. And let's go take a look at the two items we've set up now. I'm going to go to sales on the left side. We're in products and services. Here's Angela Guitar Lessons. If we were to edit this item, we would see the information we have here. So it looks all good. Scrolling back down, let's see the other item we set up in terms of, here's Jody Guitar Lessons. And notice it does say taxable here, so that should be adjusted. We might be able to adjust it right there. I'm going to go to the edit settings and scroll down and say it is not taxable. I'm going to untax that. We didn't apply any tax because it calculated at 0, because we didn't have an address in the invoice, probably is why it calculated at 0. But I'm going to unapply it just so it will not be applied, and then we're going to save and close. So there is that item. We'll continue doing this again. I'm going to select the plus up top. We'll select the invoice. And then we're going to have a new client where we're billing out for Angela's hours here. So we're going to say Diana Miller. Another Diana. This is Diana Miller. It's going to be a new client. So we're going to tab through this. Which, if we were to set up the details, we would just collect these details here. And that'll give us more information. We would want to have their phone number, obviously, and contact information, addresses, any notes for the clients. It's really good, of course, to keep information about the clients, run some notes that we can talk about them, talk with them about anything that's concerning within their lives or the business and whatnot. All good information. This is one area you can have it, and we could integrate this with other areas to have those notes as well. So on the clients especially, probably a good idea to keep as much information, much contact information, as many notes and whatnot as possible. But to record the invoice, we don't need that, and we're not going to record it here. So Diana Miller, we're just going to do the quick add and just save that. So we'll tab through, no email address, and terms are good. The invoice date 2/28, that's what we want. And we're going to scroll back down here, and now this will populate automatically. We're looking for Angela Guitar Lessons. If we just type in, we could select the drop down and or type in Angela Guitar Lessons. It will populate here then. Quantity, we're saying 6 at the rate of 150. That's 900. No sales tax, unchecked. I'm going to click off of it in order to allow it to calculate. There we have it, the 900. We're going to send out this invoice. It's going to debit or increase the accounts receivable and credit or increase the sales or service fees revenue account. So we'll save that item. Now we'll do another one for Angela. I'm going to close this up. We're going to go to plus item up top. Going to go to the invoice again. And we're going to have another client called Jill Gonzalez, who is called Jill Gonzalez. Jill is our other client. And we're going to tab through this, and we will save that. Again, we're not going to put the details. If it was an actual client, we probably would want as much details as we can find. And we're going to tab through, and we've got the date here, and then 30 days is when it's due. And then we're just going to tab through and put our item, once again, Angela Guitar Lessons. So we can select the drop up or drop down and then type in, and it'll auto-populate as well. And that's going to be for 9 hours, and that'll give us 1,350. If we click off of it so it will calculate, there it is. It's going to increase the accounts receivable because it's an invoice, and the other side will increase revenue or service fees. So we'll save that item. So we're going to close this out, and we'll take a look at the financials, but first we're going to set up one more set for Rebecca's guitar lessons. So we're going to say plus item one more time for one more set of 3, and we're going to say invoice. And now we're going to say that we have another client. We're adding up our other guitar player or guitar lesson giver, which is Rebecca, and we're gonna add up the hours for her clients that she's had done for this month. So we're going to say first she had Noah Davis as a client. We're going to tab through that. Once again, we're not going to have any of the details. We're just going to save that. Tabbing through. 30 days, net 30. So it's going to be due in 30 days. And we're going to keep this date as of the end of the month we are working in. And then we're going to have to add a new item, which is going to be Rebecca Guitar Lessons. Guitar Lessons is going to be our new item once again. We're going to save that as a service item. So it's going to be a service item. Rebecca may not, that's the way we have it here. So I'm going to keep the spelling there. And so we're going to tab through this. We're going to say that. Actually, I changed it. So we changed the service to Rebecca here. So we're going to tab through this. We're going to say that the sales information, we're going to have the same information. So let's just copy it here this time. Copy it and paste that. And I sell this product to my customers. So we're going to say that the hours then are going to be 100 for Rebecca. Not to the sales, but to, we're going to select this drop up. We want it not to the sales because that's going to be the inventory item for revenue. It's still an income type of account, revenue type of account, income or revenue. And we're selecting the service type. And it's not going to be taxable. And that should be it. So we'll save that. And there we have it. So now, and for some reason didn't quite stay populated. So I'll hit the drop up and we'll say Rebecca. And there's our item. It'll populate for us. The rate is there. We're going to say the quantity now is going to be 8 hours. And that'll be 800. If we click off of it to make sure it calculates, then we have 800. That's going to debit, once again, accounts receivable and credit revenue. We're going to save that and close this. We'll make a new invoice, clicking the plus up top, go into the invoice, and the next invoice will be, this will be for Grace Matthew. So we're going to type this out. That's our customer for Rebecca's Guitar Lessons, again, for the month of February. So we're going to save that item. We're tabbing through this. Everything looks good. The date is as of the end of the month. We're billing for the end of the month for Rebecca, our instructor for guitar lessons. So we're now going to select the service item we just set up. If we select the drop up, we can see it there, and or type in Rebecca and tab through. We're going to say the number of hours is 6 hours, and that gives us the 600. If we click anywhere off of that, then we have the 600, and it's going to increase the accounts receivable by 600 and increase the service revenue by 600. So we'll save that, and we'll do this one more time. So we'll close this up, and we're going to go back to the plus icon once again. We're going to go to the invoices. Last time we get to see this, and then we have to stop. This is all the invoicing we have for today. So we're going to have to say Pam Smith is going to be the new customer, setting up, saving it, tabbing through. We're going to keep through the terms, the end of the month, correct. We're going to have this go for Rebecca Guitar Lessons, the service item. We could find that with the drop down or drop up and or typing in Rebecca and letting it auto populate. Tabbing through, we see the quantity of 8, rate 100, giving us the 800. In order to get the calculations completed, we want to click off of it, and that'll complete the calculation. This then, once again, will increase accounts receivable by 800 and increase the service revenue 800. Let's save that. Let's see that by closing this and going there to the reports on the left side and then running the balance sheet. We're then going to change the dates. The dates should be 02/02/20, 02/01/28 to 02/28/21. Let's do that one more time. It should be 02/01/21 to 02/28/21. In other words, February 1st, 2021 to February 28th, 2021. And then we will run that report. Here is the report. If we look at the accounts receivable here, we should have some activity for this process that we've put into the accounts receivable. 6 invoices in total for 3 of our instructors that teach guitar. Those are all 3. That's all we got that teaches the guitar lessons. So here we have them. Starlee, Pam Smith, Diana. These are our new customers that took guitar lessons for the month. And those, then we have Lynn, Jenny Jones, and Diana, also 3 that took guitar lessons from another instructor. And then Jill, Gonzalez, Noah, and Grace. We see the service income as the other account here. If we select any of these, then we will see our invoice. Here's our invoice for Noah. And this was for Rebecca. That's the service item that we can see what was charged for. If we close that back out and we select one of the second 3, we see Jenny Jones. If we select that, then that's for Angela guitar lessons. And if we close this back out and select one of the last one, Pam Smith, for example, we then see the Rebecca guitar lessons here. So we're going to close that out. We're going to see the other side now. And that's going to be in the income statement or profit and loss. So we're going to go to the reports. We're going to go to the profit and loss report and change the dates once again to the month of February at 02/01/21 to 02/28/21, February 1st, 2021 to February 28th, 2021, and run that report. Then we see the service or fee income as opposed to the sales, which would be for the inventory that we're using this service or income account for. And this is for service income, non-inventory related, in other words. If we select this item, we then see our Diana Martinez, Lynn Jackson, the same information for these items that we have charged in terms of an invoice for guitar lessons for our 3 guitar instructors. So I'm going to go back to this report. These, of course, are increasing our net income even though we haven't yet received any of the cash yet, because we did the work, we are owed the money. And remember that QuickBooks reports this information at the point in time that we create the invoice, because supposedly that should be closer to the point in time the work was actually done, and on an accrual basis we report revenue when the work was actually done. Later, of course, we will get the cash, not record any more revenue at that time, but decrease the amount owed to us, decrease the accounts receivable account.